Good afternoon, everyone. If I could get everyone's attention. Welcome to the Look Good, Feel Great Masterclass at Mount Vernon High School. All right, we have a wonderful panel today to talk about mind, body, and soul, important things about life, and I hope everyone gets a good chance of listening and enjoy the wonderful panel that we have today. Before we start, I'd like to introduce and thank Mayor Howard for coming in. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in and showing up. And I'm going to introduce Priscilla.
Hello, can I see that paper? Hello, everyone, and I thank you guys for coming today. Let me stand up. I am so grateful for the opportunity and the privilege to be able to pour into our community and our kids, to teach you about total wellness, the importance of self-care, mind, body, and soul, and what you put into your body is what you get out of it, whether it comes what you put into your mind, whatever you put into your body, and whatever you put into your spirit, right? You can't have a car running that needs 93 octane and you're putting 87 in it. You got to make sure you're putting the right things in your body as a whole. And so I want to introduce these incredible masters at their craft and credible messengers for our community. We have the masterful Mr. Groovy Lou, who is phenomenal. This is Mr. Groovy Lou. You can clap for him. He is incredible. Mr. Groovy Lou is a Mount Vernon fashion icon who has used his unique style to influence the world. He has earned his Moncler as early as the 4th grade, customizing the sneakers and clothing of his fellow classmates. So he was dope from before he was out of high school. He was amazing. And so his innate sense of style would flourish inside of hip-hop culture and eventually catch the eye of many industry heavyweights. So he's worked with them all of them. And he has, whether it's award shows or major motion pictures, Groove has styled for the Notorious B.I.G. You guys know who Biggie Smalls is? Notorious B.I.G. He's styled for Rick Ross. He's styled for DJ Khaled, Diddy, Nipsey, and so many more. He is now transitioning into bringing life and love back into Mount Vernon by opening his first vegan restaurant here. So you see how we all have you, yes. You see how we all have you eating well? This is what he is going to do for the entire community. Ensure that you are all eating and living well. Then we have the incredible Michelle Stiles Bernard, who is, I should pause, right? Who was the valedictorian of her class. Master stylist Michelle Stiles Bernard is the owner, CEO of Creative Fingers Hair Salon. She has her own salon. She is trained and certified in multiple color systems. She's known for what she has done in her craft for over 25 years. She has taught healthy hair habits and is turning your everyday hair into the sleek, modern coif that you've envisioned. Michelle Stiles Bernard continues to attend classes yearly as to remain knowledgeable of what the healthiest techniques are to use for your hair. And whether you need to look absolutely fabulous for a special occasion or just you need a little you time, she and her staff are here to make you feel your absolute best. So she is a master at her craft as well. So give it up for Michelle Stiles as well. And then we have Mike B. Barnett, who I grew up with. He is incredible. He's most commonly known as a man of the people. Mike B's fashion excursions have taken him from communing with Dapper Dan in Harlem to yachts in St. Tropez. From moments in Mount Vernon with Heavy D, right here in Mount Vernon, to celebrations in Morocco with Donatella Versace. Style for Mike B is greater than any esoteric trend and transcends geographic regions. Mr. Barnett's approach to fashion is democratic. As far as Mike B is concerned, everybody has the right to express their individual style. This unpretentious spectrum was recognized by fashion royalty. Mike B was knighted as the Prince of Fashion by none other than the legendary Ralph Lauren. So he's amazing. And my name is Priscilla. I am a master creator. I create events like this and pour into a lot of you youth so that we can get the best out of our community. So I want to be as real and as honest with y'all as possible. But before I do, excuse me, may I introduce Your Honor, Madam Mayor of Mount Vernon, New York.
Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the master class put together by Priscilla, the social butterfly, right? Because she's all about transformation, and she's not only looked at her personal transformation, but she wants to be a part of your transformation. Not all of ourselves see ourselves now as who we're going to be. Because trust me, when I sat in the same seats that you sat in, I never knew that I would be standing here as the mayor now. And all of us, regardless of whether you was Lou in the 4th grade, styling his clothes, and I don't know if you was getting stuff from Gucci then, or you was making it groovy Uchi, right? I mean, you know, see, fashion is not about buying the most expensive things. It's about knowing how to take things that are basic and normal, making it your own and making it fly. So just because it is expensive doesn't make it fly. Sometimes it just makes you broke, right? And so expensive is nice, but when you create your own sense of style and fashion, and you can own it, and you can individualize it, and you can feel good in it, that makes a big difference too. And as we know, Ms. Michelle Stiles-Bernard is about that hair care, right? And we gotta learn how to take care of our hair. You know, too much over-processing, too much coloring, too much heat, and sometimes not combing it all, y'all. You know, it's all right to have the nice twist, but getting up and not taking care of it at all and just showing up anyway, that's not always the best thing to do. But again, it feeds into who you are and makes you feel good about yourself. And of course, Mike B, you know, the king of fashion, and this is what he does. But at the end of the day, it's mind, body, and spirit. It's how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself. And if you don't feel great about yourself, then what you're doing so that you could feel different and better about yourself. And so I stand here today like 70 pounds heavier than I was when I became mayor 4 years ago. And I don't feel real good about that, right? And I haven't been feeling good about that for probably the last 2 years when I started gaining the weight. But I was getting ready to say, Lou, we talked about 2 months ago about my juicer, right? So let's get this juicer. My vacation is next week, but I'm not going away for vacation. No, it's not, I'm not going away for vacation. I'm gonna do a staycation. That's right. Because with work, I travel so much that my self-care has become secondary. And I haven't been able to put patterns and space together to take care of me, so I'm gonna make time to take care of me and get good routines established for myself, right? And that's it, it's about taking care of self. I can't take care of the community unless I'm taking care of myself. And so if there's something that you are not excited about yourself, then do what you gotta do to start making that change. Because all of us fall into bad habits. The question is, are we gonna beat ourselves with each 5 pounds, or are we gonna start making the necessary decisions to turn it around? You know, you're not gonna go from an F and a D in the class to an A, but if you're not gonna get on the honor roll overnight, but one of my friends told me it's not always about the honor roll, it's getting on a roll, right? So you gotta start from somewhere so you can get to where you wanna go. So, you know, I'm talking about my challenges. You be honest with yourself about your challenges, and let's get it moving. Right? So please, we're glad you're here. You're going to hear from amazing people. And they're going to be truthful about how they made it and what some of their challenges are, so that you could know that you're really no different than anyone else. Mind, body, spirit is important. use this as an opportunity to get good information so that you could transform your lives and you could be better than you ever imagined. Enjoy.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
We got a couple of jewels that we're all jacking up here. So, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, last thing.
Yes.
I had to admit for myself that self-care
Yes.
is not selfish. When you decide to stop doing for everybody and you make yourself a little less available to people who always want you to be available to them, and you say, I need to do certain things for me, people, you're being selfish. Self-care is not selfish.
Right. Right. And I'd like to add that sometimes you got to be selfish in order to be selfless, right? So I agree with that wholeheartedly. So I tried my best to do their introductions, but I can do no honors when it comes to these incredible people that are up here. So I would like you guys, in your own words, to introduce yourselves. And may I start with master at his craft, Your Honor, Mr. Groovy Lou.
What's up, family? How y'all doing? Groovy Lou Jones, born in Mount Vernon, New York. Mount Vernon Hospital. I'm just a kid from Mount Vernon. Grew up in the 70s and the 80s, to let y'all know my age. I'm 54 years old. And growing up in this beautiful community of great people, teaching us and giving us information and the know-how and respect in the community and love and caring. We saw that. So growing up in Mount Vernon in them times was a great time as a youth. Playing sports, going to school, dealing with the loved ones in the community, going to the boys' clubs. It was just more like a big family in Mount Vernon. And that's what I grew up into. And far as like fashion, we had a lot of seamstress in the town. We had our fabric stores. We used to go down to 4th Avenue and buy fabric at early ages, and we just wanted to be different, so we would get clothing made from our fabrics just so we could have things that other kids couldn't have or didn't have at the time. Just wanted to be different and not really jumping on bandwagons of what everyone was doing, and just more tried to create my own energy in my own lane. And from dancing, playing basketball, doing art, just being a kid, having fun. And just some of these skills that we learn and acquire can like help you later on down the road in the future. So everything that I did and learned in Mount Vernon growing up, it helped me as a young adult in the music and fashion and sports industry. Knowing how to speak to people, knowing how to care for myself properly, like hygiene, tucking your clothes in, pulling your pants up so people can invite you out, so you can be amongst people that's doing like-minded things. And yeah, listening was the thing that we had to do more, because we had a lot of great scholars in our town, a lot of great black engineers, a lot of powerful brothers, a lot of doctors. So it was all about listening. You know, when you're a youth, we all feel that we know everything and we have all the answers and nothing can happen, but I just think like we listened a little more, and that helped us as we grew, you know. So just a kid from Mount Vernon wanting more and wanting to be better and going outside of my community to see more and to deal with more people and to learn different things and not just get caught in a box, which I call Mount Vernon the 4x4. It's a box, so I always like think outside the box, get outside the box. There's so many things to do around Westchester and around New York City and up in New York State. and then I would come to Mount Vernon to rest more and not do a lot of things in my community because honestly, we didn't have so much, so we had to go outside and create, but yeah, that's it.
Groovy, I admire you.
Very much so.
He's the man. Well, I'm Michelle Bernard, AKA Mushy. I grew up with the nickname Mushy. I am 53, will be 54 this year. And I grew up in slow bomb projects in Yonkers. That was during the crack era, in my era. So it wasn't so family oriented or, sports or anything like that. I've been in business for so long because I had to hit the ground running. If I had to pause, I may have not made it like some of my friends. So that taught me a valuable lesson. We always were into, despite of it all, we always had our fashion. My mother always instilled consistency within us, and with consistency, anything can be done. Anything can be done. Doing something twice a day for yourself every day will create the habits of consistency. So that's what helped me make it to where I was. So the things that I could control was being consistent, going to school, getting my good grades, knowing if I had the education, I could do what I want to do in this America, because that's what America's all about. Opportunity, education, no matter where you're from. You can find yourself anywhere in the world if you are consistent with your education and your will. And there's no one way to do anything, especially in you guys' age bracket. Like, you can be consistent on social media and make something out of yourself.
That's right.
But it all requires consistency. So yeah, at 19, I went to cosmetology school, graduated cosmetology school, hit the ground working, went to the Galleria Mall when the Galleria was fierce, and got my first cosmetology job. But that required consistency. So with that being said, it's just the everyday grind of consistency and knowing if you keep at it, anything's possible. So that's my story.
Such a beautiful story. I'm Michael Mike B. Barnett. I am from Greenburgh, New York. My family heritage is Jamaican Cuban. I am first generation for my family and my brothers and my sister here. I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. I was just blessed to be able to, run around from Greenburgh to Yonkers, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon. And, during these times, there was a lot going on because, like Mush said, it was definitely during the crack era. I'm not gonna act like I was a good kid. I was definitely in and out of Valhalla. I did my time running around in these streets. But, there was a turn point in my life where I just was like, this is really not gonna do anything for me. And, it's probably gonna end up as a negative story. So, I changed my ways and, I knew Groovy before I guess running around in the industry, but I too always had a thing for fashion because, I had these OGs that would come outside and they were just looking fresh and fly every day. And, they kind of like became my superheroes. And, some of these cats were like actually pulling up in cars and hopping out in their sweatsuits is matching their interiors. And, that was just like a ooh, ah moment. So, I think it was just basically me just wanting more for life and wanting to get out and experience other things that was going on other than just being around Greenburgh. What else? I guess it also showed discipline as well too, because there's one minute where you could be on the block, hanging out on the block, but then you got to have the self-discipline to tell yourself that it's not really where you want to be. You want to, start moving forward. I definitely graduated from high school on time, which was also a blessing. But I guess it was just the discipline from my parents, and not also trying to keep us away from the mischief. But as a kid, you're going to get caught up regardless. So, like I said, I think it was just the mind discipline of me just saying, I want to do something better with my life and just start moving forward. I always kept a job, whether it was sanitation or working at UPS or whatever the case may be. But I think once I got a touch of that industry life and meeting Groove downtown and I had a friend, Jay Black, also too, and just running around with these guys showed me like a whole nother thing where you can actually make a career out of this fashion thing, whether it's doing personal shopping or whether it's designing or even if it's getting into production of producing shows or working behind the scenes. Not everything has to be in front of the camera. You don't always have to be the rapper, or you don't always have to be the producer, but there's other things that help bring the piece of this puzzle and makes it more of a bigger picture. But I say all of that to say is that you kids are from a very royalty town. Like this town of Mount Vernon right here is full of lineage, and I think y'all should do more of your homework, because you got such statues and kings and queens like Nina Simone and Malcolm X, who used to be right up the block from here, Denzel Washington. You know what I mean? So these are folks that, y'all should also aspire from, other than just Groove and Mush, that should aspire you to, trying to just, like Groove said, get out of that box. So, again, I'm just a kid from Greenburgh, and I'm just glad to be here.
Absolutely. So I thank you all for answering the call. What was so impactful for me was when I reached out to all of you, you answered. And that's a form of wellness to me. And I want to thank you publicly for that. So I am Priscilla Etchie. I'm originally from Yonkers, New York. I grew up in Tarrytown, New York as well, and partially in White Plains, and used to run away to Mount Vernon and different places so that I can experience the world. My life took a different path where I made a lot of bad choices and hung around a lot of people that I shouldn't have been around, even though I came from good stock. And sometimes we look for love in the wrong places, or we go outside if we feel that we don't have what we need on the inside. And so one thing I always knew is I was a creative. I didn't know how to formulate that into a business, but later on, my faith in God, He was the one who showed me how to master that and hone it into, sometimes they say, if you be you long enough, people will pay you to be you. Right? And so as time progressed and as I got over some of the mistakes that I made in life, I turned my pain and what I had gone through into power. I later on wrote a book about that, turning pain into power. And what that means to me is any circumstance that you experience. I've experienced things like molestation and things of that nature where people don't normally talk about that out loud, but you can't heal what you hide, right? And so I never knew that I would become that person that would be able to say that out loud in front of people without feeling a way about it or being insecure about it. And because of things like that I went through, it put me in a place of dealing with anxiety, social anxiety, not wanting to be in front of people, in front of cameras, in front of, or speak out loud, or speak my truth. And as I grew, I started to love me more and honor the importance of speaking your truth, and how that not only can heal you, but heal other people in the process. And that enabled me to tap in and utilize that to create things that gear around wellness, so that as I heal myself in my life, I can help to save yours. So that is a part of my path. And I just want to say that I'm grateful to have the opportunity, whether it's one person or whether it's 1,500 people speaking in front of them, to be able to pour back the wisdom that I have gotten from my path and what I've been through back into the community. So again, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time out to do this. And just to sit with you guys, it means the world to us. And we know if you can take this, you can affect your household, and then you can take what you've done to affect your household to affect your entire community. And so with that, I would like to ask Master Stylist, Mr. Groovy Lou, what fundamental aspects comprise self-care for enhancing your overall well-being? What fundamental aspects comprise self-care for enhancing your overall well-being?
Well, firstly, giving thanks to the Creator is mostly important. That's what moves everything. And then just exercising, from exercising your mind, from reading, from meditating, to stretching, to walking, to being in the sun. Just more nature for me is what does it for me, because we are as nature, so I try to use nature into everything that I deal with, and that's what keeps me going, and that's what gives me the energy and the information. And from the flowers, I create my colors and different things like that. So for me, it's more nature.
I love that. You mind repeat, but I have one more question for you. How do you cultivate confidence in your clothing choices? That's important.
Well, always confident. Like I said, nature, I choose colors through nature, through flowers, through trees, through beautiful plants and stuff like that. But the confidence is more comfort. You know what I mean? It's about being comfortable to me. And being comfortable helps with the confidence and the choices. Like, you know, depending on where I'm going or what I'm doing or who I'm with, I try to choose the clothing like that, to just be in tune to every event or situation I'm dealing with. Just try to make it make sense with the clothing. And confidence is not really in the clothing, it's really inside of you. It's you that makes the clothing, it's not the clothing that makes you. So the confidence is in yourself. And when you're exercising and working out and doing the right things, the clothing fits you nice and feel good, and then your confidence is out through the roof.
So as a young adult, what strategies, well, you kind of answered that somewhat. What strategies, is that the strategies that you utilize to employ yourself to dress for success?
Yeah, as a young adult, just growing up seeing my family members and like my grandparents and my uncles and my aunties, and everybody was dressed up all the time. Like, it didn't have to be a purpose. It was like when you seen pictures of your grandparents, they all had on suits and dresses and hats, and just the family and the Harlem Renaissance, seeing people in Harlem and in St. Louis and all these different clubs, like they were so beautifully dressed, like just to have a date. Maybe you would just walk down Lenox Avenue or whatever, but you would dress up. Like, you weren't just going out without a suit jacket on and a hat and some shoes. Like, so growing up, seeing all that, and going to private school, and my grandparents, and, you know, just keeping that going from seeing my family and loved ones. And yeah, and just seeing black men and black women through film and television. Yeah.
And so I have one more question for you. What is total wellness to you?
Total wellness to me, total wellness is like, it's the spiritual aspect. It's the mind, it's the body, and it's the soul, and it's the family, and it's the love, and it's the respect, and it's the discipline. Total wellness is all these things you have to have for yourself to be able to be well for someone else and for your universe. So total wellness to me is just going inside yourself, knowing that you are in the image of the Creator, and bringing that out and showing it daily.
I love that. Thank you. My dear Mushy, you're next, Mama Michelle.
Hey.
Hey, girl. So, I wanted to ask you, what are the optimal practices for maintaining hygiene and self-care to achieve total wellness?
Well, I touched base on it a little bit earlier. Now you have to be consistent. Brushing your teeth twice a day, putting on your lotion twice a day, lotioning your feet twice a day. Everything is twice a day, you know. And there's spirit in numbers, you know. Having a ritual in numbers is spiritual. So when you can give yourself like numbers in your practices, it helps you become consistent. And it makes you feel good. So water has power. So when you're under a shower, sometimes in depression, and when you're feeling down, just going underneath the water just makes the day better. And we've all experienced that. Am I right? Absolutely. Am I right? Absolutely. In the audience? So having that ritual of bathing and taking the time on yourself, not just being clean, but taking extra time to lotion up yourself, give yourself extra time in the morning to have that moment with yourself, opening the window, letting the sun come in, and keeping your space organized will promote beauty and wellness always. That's the fundamentals. It's not all about the shine and your hair being cute and the makeup if your spirit is not grounded.
Come on, that's the word.
So those things, that's where the real beauty comes. You understand? When your spirit starts shining, and that's when you're being consistent with yourself. And that's how confidence is grown. So everybody's like, believe in yourself, be confident. And we don't get taught often enough how to build confidence. So building confidence comes from making up your bed every day. And that's something you do for yourself.
That's right.
Not for your mom, not for anybody else, but for yourself. Keeping your space, your sheets clean. It just gives you something to put your shoulders back. Saving a little money. Put your shoulders back. All those things help you walk in the world with confidence, and that's how it's built. Not just, I'm going to pull confidence out the sky today and I'm going to decide to wear it. You know, it's something that's built, you know, and anybody can have it if you do the numbers and you build it and you do things for yourself. And when you build that, it's hard to let manipulation in. Because manipulation is the enemy. It's the carrot that's hung to make you believe that something's possible, that you're not good enough. Exactly. Did that make sense?
Love it. Love it. So I love the way you answered that, and thank you for that answer. So can you provide a hair care routine that's suitable for youth with maybe budget constraints? So some of these kids out here may have, they don't have $1 million.
I get it.
What is a proper hair care routine that they can stick to help them in the age group that they're in, and that is with the budget that they're within, the right budget?
The thing is about hair care for everyone, it's not one recipe for everybody, because especially in the Black communities, we have so many different textures, and on one head there's maybe 3 textures. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody's looking for a product to give them something, and you may need 2 or 3 products on one head to give you that achievement. However, there's old things that are still new things that always work, and for all nationalities. Some moisturizing shampoo, a little witch hazel, which is very cheap for astringent for the face, and cholesterol. Anybody knows what the Queen Hyleine cholesterol conditioner is?
You guys know what it is?
Okay, but it's
seen
in
it?
all beauty supplies, and anybody can use it. White, black, anybody can use it, and it will condition and give your hair the luster it needs. You can even dilute it and use it as a leave-in conditioner. So it's just basic washing your hair. Shampoo has never been the enemy. I hear all of these things about dirty hair grows. No.
Yeah.
Clean hair grows.
Right.
What you're going to do is wash your hair on a once-a-week basis. Some people with thinner hair need to wash their hair at least twice a week. You're going to do a basic conditioner. If your hair is too dry, you might want to condition your hair with some cholesterol before you shampoo.
What's the difference when you do that?
When you do that, you're moisturizing first. You're just going to lather on the conditioner and then shampoo it out. And you get the luster without the weight. Does that make sense? Anybody want to ask any questions? Because I know more of hair stuff is a Q&A, but we'll get there. Because it's an individual thing, and I'm here for it, okay? Whatever questions you need. But just basic shampooing and condition on a once-a-week basis, detangling the hair, and YouTube. You guys have YouTube. There's everything on YouTube. You can pick a style depending on your texture, your length, your coils, or your straightness, and figure out a small routine for you. And I'll leave my number here if you guys need questions as well.
I love it. So I have, well, you pretty much answered that, especially about the Queen Hyleine, but are there any other products that you can recommend as essentials for enhancing your self-care routine?
So,
what are your favorites?
My favorite, growing up poor, we use vinegar for everything.
Right.
Now, vinegar will bring the alkaline back into your hair, which is the pH balance, which we all need.
Right.
All of us, no matter what race you are, you need pH balance in your skin and in your hair.
Right.
You could always dilute a little vinegar and water and put it in a spray bottle, and it will improve the pH in your hair. And when the pH is right in your hair, that means your cuticles are not sticking out like that. They get smooth. So you close your cuticles, and then it's better for detangling. You won't lose so much. You're not fighting with your hair.
Is that with every grade of hair?
Every grade of hair. Every grade of hair needs a pH balance, which will help you maintain your hair. And if you can, trimming promotes growth.
I remember you said that.
Pruning promotes growth. And there's places like Supercuts. If we blow our hair out straight, you go to a Supercuts and get just a dusting. Those are like $12 trims.
Right.
that everybody, you could save your little money or whatever the case may be. And they have promotions for kids and things like that. We do promotions, but the trimming keeps the weight on the bottom of the hair, and that way it can come down. If the weight is in the root of the hair, it can't come down. So that myth with not cutting your hair, because it's like grass. You see the weeds when it's not cut, but when it's cut nice, it looks like a carpet. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's full,
Right.
So it's hard to sum up a routine, but the routine is washing consistently and having some conditioner and comb your hair out.
Amazing. And then one last question for you. What is total wellness to you?
Total wellness to me is spiritual. Very spiritual. You got it. It doesn't have to be church. It doesn't have to be any formalized religion, but it has to be staying still, listening to yourself, having that conversation with self, to be able to not be triggered by the noise. You know what I mean?
That was powerful.
The noise. Yeah,
That's important.
the distractions, and we're human beings, so it's always easier to be led than to stand still. So when you learn how to stand still, you could give yourself to hear your inner voice. And when that voice tells you something, I guarantee it's the right thing, because God lives within us.
Come on. I love that.
Okay?
I love that. I love that. Thank you. That was so good. That was so good. Mr. Mike B., the Prince of Fashion. So, I have a question. How do you integrate self-care into your creative expression?
How do I integrate self-care? Well, exercising is one. Definitely. I go to the gym in the morning.
That's important.
And, also, Mush mentioned the water, but I do swimming as well, too. So sometimes during that time of just being in the gym, I'm able to sit with my thoughts. And with these thoughts, it keeps me creative. And, I'll start to apply, whether I'm thinking about projects or my daily itinerary or whatever the case, all of that just comes together and I'm able to put it all into fruition.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And so, what self-care methods have aided, well, you touched on it a little bit, but what self-care methods have aided in refining your craft?
Well, again, it's also being one with God. Get up in the morning, I gotta acknowledge the Most High. It's also, meditating, and like they both touched on. It's having knowledge of self and being able to just have some type of quiet time. It's not about just waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is just go on your phone or go to Sports Center or whatever you do. Sometimes you just gotta just take time out and just let peace be still. Peace is like having peace with yourself is also a part of comfort as well too, and it also helps strengthen your mind from the distractions. I was always told, you want to try to evolve, because then sometimes you tend to dissolve, and that means like you disappear and get caught up with society. So, so did I answer the question?
You did, because it's kind of good to be different, be on your own stuff, and allow yourself to be one with self so you can be good for other people.
Absolutely. Each one teach one.
That's right.
Does anybody know about Each One Teach One, where that came from?
You guys know about that?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. At first, growing up, I thought it was a basketball tournament in Harlem. But Each One Teach One came from Nelson Mandela. And
Interesting.
During his time of incarceration, he and his crew of political leaders that, got locked up together, during their breaks, they would go into these caves and they would Nelson would have them pair up with the other criminals, so they're teaching each other. And that's how the phrase became each one teach one, so you strengthen each other, you know what I mean? So
Iron sharpens iron.
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So you touched on it a little bit, but I want to ask you again so they can kind of get a broader idea. Can you discuss some of your mindful self-care rituals and how they contribute to your well-being and creativity? Which you kind of said it, but tell us again. We want to hear it again. Your rituals that you use. I know you're one with God. You do swimming. They say prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening. You say you do both, right? That's important. But what are some of the other rituals that you may not have mentioned that you utilize for your self-care?
Well, after my quiet time, before I even turn on the TV and go to my phone, I read. So there's a few books. Right now I'm reading The Richest Man in Babylon. And then I just finished Destiny and Instinct by T.D. Jakes.
Oh, I love it.
So at that, during that time, it's not only am I sharpening my sword of my mind, but I'm also teaching myself literacy. So, because again, I'm 51, so it's been a minute as far as me going to school, and like sitting in a class and stealing as much information as possible. So I try and keep my mind sharp by reading, because then, what I do is, it's not just about shopping, spending budgets. Like, when I do a job, it has to coincide with the direction from a director or from the production company. So then now they have these treatments or they have these scripts, and there's just ways that you got to be able to understand the literacy when it's being presented to you. What is this person wearing in this scene, and being able to differentiate what the person walking by might have on while this scene is also going on, or whatever the case. So all of that just keeps me sharp, and just basically trying to stay on point.
I love that. And then lastly, what is total wellness to you?
There's different degrees of total wellness. They mentioned spiritual, that's just, having faith. For me, it's, growing up in the church, and, I was always taught walk by faith, not by sight, so that's one thing that I definitely live on and I strive off of. Another thing is the psychological part of it, and that's just, again, strengthening your mind. I don't think total wellness or self-care has to always form around just yourself. I think it's also community, and like your homies will lift you up, you know what I'm saying, and your family will lift you up, or if you got a mentor or whatever the case may be. But it's just doing things for your community, and coming together brings the unity of, and I think that's part of the wellness, because right now today, because today, right now, the whole mental wellness thing is at an all-time high in itself, and and if you're not, I guess, woke enough to where, at the end of the day, we're all products of our own environment, and for me, there's. They say certain kids, we grow up with a depression. I guess now today they call it like neurodivergency type, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's all the same thing of us growing up in our environment, seeing, whether, things that's going on in the hood, or, and watching what's going on in the news, and, so all of that takes a toll on us mentally, you know what I mean? So, that's why that's why it's always important to stay around positive energy and good vibes. And, when you in the club, and, it was different for when we grew up and we were listening to hip hop. Groove kind of touched on this earlier when he was like, we need to like re-educate ourselves after some of the stuff that we were learning. But I found myself during a time of listening to hip hop, there were certain gods or MCs that we would listen to that were actually giving me more knowledge of self. You understand what I'm saying? And even Public Enemy, and teaching you, how royalty you are, and we all come from kings and queens, and you know what I mean. So, I think all of that takes into a play, because if you're sitting in a club for 4 hours listening to murder, kill, and bit, biat, and all of that, then after a minute that gets drilled into your head, and that's why things are the way that they are right now in the streets. So yeah, you just gotta strengthen your mind and be in the right places and be at the right time, and that brings you into the right rooms. Did I answer the question?
You absolutely did. You absolutely did. So I want to thank all of you for a lot of the knowledge and jewels that you dropped. Did you guys learn a lot? So now we're going to make sure that you're awake, because I'm going to ask you to ask them some questions. And so who wants to be the first one to ask a question about when it comes to wellness? I'm going to come down, because I am going to prompt you. I think it's important that we engage while we have these incredible people here. So who wants to be first to ask a question about wellness? Anything you want to know, there's no wrong questions. Ask anything. What made you come here today? Come, you. Come on.
Yeah, I got questions.
Yeah, come on. How you doing? What's your name? Antonio, take the microphone. What made you stop in today?
Normally there's an after-school program. It's like culinary club, and like there was an announcement like at the end of the day saying that that it was canceled for this event, which is so that's the primary.
This event was canceled?
No, the culinary. Yeah, that's why I came here.
Okay, so what did you get from the panelists that came here today as it relates to wellness? What information did you pick up from that?
Well, a lot of things some of the things that they were saying regarding like consistency and being active and prioritizing self-care. It was kind of confirming, because it's something that I've been actively doing myself as of late. And I'm noticing the difference. Yeah, like I've been prioritizing going to, like I usually go to either like the weight room at school, or I go to the gym. Like I make sure that I'm active every day, and I'm prioritizing my self-care a lot more. I'm noticing that I have a lot more energy, and so like generally all around, academically, physically, and mentally, I'm just doing a whole lot better.
I love that, and I love that when you first came in. Yeah. So thank you for that. I love everything you said. When you first came in, you went straight for the fruits, and you went to town. Like, I love that about you. He did. He went to town.
Crazy.
And that shows that he wants to be healthy.
Okay, you've been in school all day.
Yes.
After school, you better go have some fruit and vegetables.
That's right.
Replenish all that knowledge that you gave out. You need that.
That's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you. Everybody clap for him that he came up and said that. So, Mr. Red Outfit, I love your outfit. And I, you know why? You were one of the first people in here. And you actually went straight for it.
They should.
And I loved that. But can I ask you a question? What did you take away from the panel of what they said? What's a good takeaway that you can give to everyone else and to let them know? Come on. What it was a good takeaway that you got from these amazing people that were here today? What was your takeaway?
Taking more care of your mental health. Yeah, because like I've been trying to do that a lot more lately. And yeah, as Antonio said, I've been trying to go to the weight room too.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And in terms of I love your outfit, first of all.
Thanks.
Are you putting more into your just self-care as a whole? Yes.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot from them today?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it is something that you can take back and share within your household and your community as well, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. What's your name again?
Jaden.
Jaden. Nice to meet you, Jaden. Thank you for participating. Al, it's your turn. Come on. Come on. It's your turn. Come on. What did you pick up about self-care from these panelists today? What did you get from them? Your name is Alan, you say?
Yeah,
Alan.
I'm not
Pleasure
I
to
forget
meet
a
you.
lot. I have ADHD, so I forget a lot.
That's okay.
For self-care, is that we need to start taking care. Oh, you said to start taking care of ourselves, right? That we need to start being more prepared for ourselves and to be more clean, to be more hygienic.